what is Drew's status about Holiday? Will he play tomorrow?
Drew will be ready to play tomorrow. So he's rested and he's still on minute restriction, but he should be ready to play unless something happens between now and tomorrow. Should be ready.
Having played the Spurs since I think New Year's Eve, how much did they look different now from that team that's kind of struggling early in the year?
Both teams are different. They have different guys in their lineup. We have different players that we've traded for. And, you look at the starting lineup from that game, it's different. Rotations are different, so I would say both teams are a bit different.
Is it going to be difficult for you to be emotionally detached tomorrow night, knowing who's on the other end, coaching that team?
I think once the ball goes up and you start playing, it's finished with. We talked last night, and we both know what's at stake. We're both happy for each other either way, and but once the ball goes up, you're competing. It's a different deal. We played against them so many times, not in a game like this, but I think the talk that we had last night kind of settled that and smoothed it. We just both wanted to get it out of the way, and we're both kind of laughing at how this came about, and it's appropriate. It's pretty cool, appropriate, all those things. But once the ball goes up, I'm sure there'll be different emotions after that.
Why is it appropriate? Because of the mentor-mentee angle? Or?
I would imagine that, and all the things I've learned from him, and having played for him and coached under him, and the conversations that we have throughout the year. All that stuff's really important to me, important to my family. So to have to get to where we want to go and play against Pop and his team is it's pretty cool, and there's other emotions that go with it.
You've often said in the past that when you've had those types of, or when you spoke to him during the season, you didn't talk very much about basketball. Did you all try to avoid the basketball aspect last night?
We have. It's hard to, but usually when we talk on the phone, we're talking about, family, my kids, his grandkids, his kids, politics, religion. Last night it was hard to avoid, the situation. So it was a totally different deal. So we've always had that relationship, especially when I became a coach, or even before that when I left San Antonio. Our relationship became more personal and less basketball.
What do you do to prepare?
Same thing we do every day. It's nothing different. Just had film session with the guys. We're not going to change our preparation. Same thing we always do.
What is it, Coach, obviously other than Duncan, Falcon, and Ginobili, what is it about this system that just makes it so hard to defend?
Kawhi Leonard is a big part of their system too. Might be their best player. They've had so much continuity. Those guys have been together, I don't know how many years, but they got a winning percentage of 70%. They've been in every situation. So that continuity is something that I don't know if any team in the history of basketball has that. So that's a lot to overcome. That's what we got to do.
Last summer when the schedule came out and you saw April 15th home against San Antonio, did you think in your wildest dreams it would have the significance?
Yeah, I didn't know it would end up like this, but we thought this game would be important. And just so happens to be, OKC's in the equation. We didn't know what teams were going to be in the equation, but looking at the schedule, it was like, that game's going to mean something, Had no idea it would be like this, but it's what the players are all talking about it. It's what you dream about as a young player, to be in a game like this. From where our program has come from, it's an awesome opportunity. And our fans get a chance to be a part of it, and we get to do it on our home floor. So we looked at it back in this summer, man. It was like, that game's gonna mean something. You didn't know, but you looked at it, you're like, oh my goodness, that game's gonna be big.
How are the guys' heads after the Houston game?
They're fine. Look, everybody's like trying to figure us out. Like, we've been in this race for a month and a half.
Right.
Like, there's nothing. We've dealt with more emotions and big games, big losses, big wins. Our guys are fine. They know they got to go out and execute. It's going to be a cool time. Maybe the first time we're embarking on this, but man, these guys have been through a lot. They know how to handle this.
Do you feel this is the ultimate growth moment?
Can be. Yeah, it can be. I think it's appropriate. I keep using that word. It's appropriate that we're, having to go through this to get to where we want to go as a program. I mean, to take the program from where it was, strip it down, and then go through these steps, and to be here, it's appropriate. It's what we got to go through. It's not. You can't get there an easy way. You can't skip steps. I've been saying that forever. It's just part of the deal. That's just life.
When you got back from the East Coast trip in January, did you still feel as though the April 15th game would be
I wasn't looking that far ahead. Once the season starts, I stopped doing that. So that trip was just like, Drew was hurt, AD got hurt. I was like, what is going on? Thinking about the next game, who we're going to have and how we needed to change the way we played because Drew was going to be out. So my focus was different. Once the season starts, I stopped doing that.
Was that the lowest point at that junction?
I don't know. I haven't been able to filter it all. It's hard to say. I try not to get, my way is to try not to get too low and try not to get too high. So it'd be hard for me to say, where that was for our team. But I try to keep as balanced as I can.
You sort of referenced it, but talking about stripping the team down and building it back up, and you're getting the opportunity, the team that's staying with you, because you see some guys don't get that opportunity to get the team back to where it is. Can you just express your emotions personally about, to have this team in this position tomorrow?
Well, as you know, I'm really emotional to begin with, so it's like, I'm not the most emotional cat to begin with, man. I just plod, like you said, we stripped it down. You just have to take it day by day. My emotions are, based around the guys. I really want them to be in a position to overcome and enjoy it with them. I'm not playing. My job is to do the best I can to give them a chance to succeed. And so if I can see our guys with that kind of feeling tomorrow at the end of the game, my emotions will come from that. Looking at my family after the game, I enjoy seeing the people around me do well. And if our guys can succeed tomorrow in front of our fans, I think that will give me an unspeakable joy that you can't describe. You just feel it.
Got your taxes done?
Got my what?
Got your taxes done?
What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
What are you most pleased about since the All-Star break? When you put in the mantra of one game at a time and different things, and these guys not getting ahead of themselves, and they follow suit of what you asked. What that says about, were you persistent with that, or you kind of anticipated that this is what you have to do with a young team?
I just felt like that was needed to bring a young team along, is to take one game at a time. It's hard to not hear the stuff around. I usually hear it secondhand, and so if I'm hearing it secondhand, I know our guys probably hear it firsthand. So my job was to try to filter that out and keep us focused on the next game, next practice, next shoot around. And I think it served us well. It's not the perfect way, it's not the only way. I'm aware of that. At the same time, when you have a group that doesn't have a lot of corporate equity, you got to figure out a way to keep us on the same page, in the same boat, and rowing in the right direction. And to me, it's just, I can't do anything about yesterday. Tomorrow it's coming, but it's so far ahead. All we can take care of the next phase is, whether it's a shoot around, a practice, video session, bus ride, let's just focus on that, get through it. I do have some foresight But to share all that stuff with the team, especially young guys who haven't been through it, I think it takes them off of their path a little bit, and that's the last thing they need is a distraction.
Monty, with we haven't been in this situation with the team since 11. When you guys like remade the team and added players, did you have it'll take 3 years to get to this point? Did you have a foresight to say how long it would take to get 45, 44 wins after they restripped the team?
We didn't know. A lot of it was going to be based on the development of the young guys. We had no idea how long it would take. We knew this was the year we wanted to have a winning record and a chance to go to the playoffs. And, we have a shot. That's where we are right now. So it's hard to forecast that stuff. It's easy to say, hey, we need to be here. But you don't know. Injuries throw you off. Another team, 2 or 3 teams. Atlanta probably threw everybody off in the East. Nobody saw them taking the jump they've taken. You look at the teams around you. Golden State, I don't know if anybody thought they were going to be this good. So there's a lot of variables in the equation. So it's hard to say, but at the beginning of this year, that was a goal for us. Have a winning record and have a shot to make the playoffs.
You paying attention to Westbrook getting reinstated yesterday?
I heard about it, but it didn't affect, what we did. I've been through the league process before. They rescinded a few of my texts. They've been real good about that. If you don't have a history of getting technical fouls or being belligerent, they usually work with you. The league doesn't need any more money, so I'm sure they did the same thing with Russell. They looked at the situation and made a decision. Once I heard about it, I was like, okay, we still have to take care of Minnesota.
Thank you.